Hi, I'm Sam. Welcome to my channel, Heal with Sam. My channel is for parents who are healing through ambiguous grief from the loss of their children and having someone else raising their children. Today's video is about after termination of parental rights, which is often referred to as the death penalty for parents. When a parent experiences termination of parental rights, there is usually two paths before them. One which is continue fighting, and the other which is surrender. I'm not referring to immediately after a TPR, because immediately after a TPR, a parent has the option to appeal. And I think that that is a healthy decision, most likely a right decision, and something that a parent should pursue so they can say they tried, or so they can have that chance to reunify, which is what's best for children and families. I'm more specifically talking about after an appeal process, when all logical legal paths have been, carried through and decided. This video is for a parent who, after the appeal process, is still faced with their rights are terminated. A parent who is still faced with a judge saying to them, "You're no longer your child's mother." Okay, that's a horrific, very intense, heavy, dark place to be. And so after the appeal process, a parent is at a place where they have to ask themselves, do I continue to go on this path where I'm advocating and fighting and filing motions and trying to still collect statutes, case law? It's a very intense process. It's a very overwhelming process. That's still not the word I'm looking for. It consumes you. Advocating and still fighting for your child with the system that we're up against, when all normal legal paths have already been, executed and resolved, still continuing to try to find a loophole, so to say, it can consume you. And that creates a very thin line of, am I moving forward and advocating from a healthy place with chance and purpose, and I fight, which all those things are great, but that very thin line is the reality, the flip side, that a parent is panicking, in denial, and feeling or avoiding hopelessness, or is coming from a fear-based hopelessness spot, which in life that is never the spot we should come from, in the energy that we should have, ever. So it's just a very thin line that I wanted to discuss today. So there is no right or wrong answer. If you continue to fight, that's beautiful. If you continue to surrender, or if you decide to surrender and choose a healing path, that's okay too. Or if you combine both paths and find that balance, that's usually ideal, right? But whatever path you're on, whether you're advocating and still trying to fight for your paternal rights, or if you have accepted your new life and you have surrendered and you are rebuilding. Both paths are beautiful. Both paths are warranted and valid. And there is no right or wrong. But I do have a list of some checkpoints to ask yourself to make sure you're on the right path for the right reasons. Checkpoint number 1 is this fueled by chaos or is this fueled by clarity? And some example statements to say to yourself are, for healthy fighting, I understand my legal reality and timeline. I have a strategic plan, not just emotional urgency. I can accept delays without spiraling. And unhealthy sounds like if you were to say, I can't sleep, I can't eat, I can't think about anything else. I feel like if I stop fighting, I'll die. Every motion is fueled by fear and adrenaline. Next checkpoint is this empowering my life or consuming it? And so I just mentioned consuming your life. And, you know, if a parent experiences TPR and they do continue to advocate, fight, look for ways to reverse their case, you know, they're up against so much. But if a parent chooses that, and even if it is consuming them, that's still on the surface level better than if they were to roll over and die and give up. You know, like, I totally acknowledge that. I would rather see a parent consumed with fighting than laying on the ground on the verge of death. But life is about balance, and I'm here to bring you all the topics so you can heal and so you can be aware and so we can discuss. It's not like I have all the answers. I'm just bringing you what I got. So is it consuming your life? Okay, obviously, if it is, that's not what's best, because balance is always the answer. But I just wanted to make that point that I, of course, would much rather see a parent consumed with fighting than on the verge of their deathbed. But as moms who are experiencing such horrific pain and devastation and disappointment and all of that, what's best for us and for our children is for us to be on a balanced path forward and for us to heal. And so obviously, if a parent is consumed with all that chaos that CPS and their court system brings into our life, you know, it's like we're literally sucked into it. And when you have an open case, you have no choice. You have to be a part of that system. And, you know, humans are creatures of habit. It could be something that has become habitual for us. It could be something we got sucked into and not even aware of it, or sucked into, are aware of it and don't know how to get out. You know, some parents might not see another option. And I admire that. Fighting for your children and family with everything you got, like, that's admirable. But is it effective? Is it healing? Is it helping you? Is it making you better? Is it making you the person you need to be for reunion one day? Is it, you know, so those are really important questions, and why this whole channel is here. So an important checkpoint between your fight being empowering or consumption chaos that's consumed you. Healthy checkpoint to check off, this is empowering. Your advocacy coexists with healing, rest, relationships, and growth. You still have moments of peace. You're building a future regardless of the outcome. And then checkpoint for the consumption chaos. Every conversation revolves around CPS. Your identity becomes the case. You're stuck in replay mode and no forward or movement. or no action forward. The next checkpoint is asking yourself, can I imagine having a meaningful life even if reunification never happens? And that's when I was referring to your state of being, the state of where you're coming from, and all the intentions that you're doing, and if you're fighting from a place of fear and panic, that never ends well. So a healthy outlook would be to see self-preservation. Even if your fight doesn't end with the result that you want, reunification, you still can imagine a life and see yourself moving forward. Versus, no, you can't imagine a future. You're frantic, you're in a panic, you're fear-based survival mode, and decisions that we make and the steps forward that we take from that place, from that energy, from that state of mind, from that state of being is unhealthy and is not what's best for anyone. And so if a parent chooses not to continue fighting, or just realizes that there's no legal angle that is effective and worth their time, I want to describe to you a little bit of what that path looks like, the path where you don't fight, because I want to make sure that parents don't think or feel that because they give up fighting, that means they don't love their kids, or that means that they didn't try hard enough, or that they're doing something wrong. There is just as much strength and surrender and acceptance as there is in continuing to fight. As I said, if you're making your decisions from a place of health, balance, and love, I definitely have faith in you, as you should too. You're going to make the right decision on which path to take. For most of us, the way things are currently, the path we choose is that of healing, because we don't know the law. We're not lawyers. We can't afford a civil rights attorney. Even if we could, there's not that many available. So when I say that the odds are stacked up against us, they are. When there's obstacles and barriers in front of us on the fighting forward path, there is. Those are reality. Those are not any kind of equal, representation of the love for your child whatsoever. So I just wanted to give that message that the healing path, the acceptance isn't saying what happened was right and you agree with it. It's acceptance. It's the building block that you need to grow and move forward. Continuing to stay in the corrupt legal system and continuing to fight forward takes a very special person. That courtroom is a place of such huge trauma for me. I don't know if I could ever walk back in. I still may. Like, I'm still working on something where I soon might, and that's going to be so. I don't know. I'll probably have to get there a week early, for real. But when you choose healing, again, that is showing strength, showing that court system that you refuse to let them control you and harm you anymore, So for some parents, they might choose the path of healing and totally, you know, get that horrible agency and system off their mind, out of their life, and then find themselves at a place where they're ready to go back. But that's a great place to be. But to get there, you got to do the healing and you got to put in the work first. When you choose the path of healing versus the path of fighting, you find yourself wondering who you are, what's important to you now, what's your moral compass, because your old moral compass of what's best for my family and how does this affect my children no longer exist. And so you have to find and create your new identity and your new moral compass and decide what your values still are or aren't. You got to go through all of that on your healing path. It's also a very fine line when you have to deal with CPS stole motherhood from you, took it, stole it, you know, and it hurts, and it's a heavy grief because it's something that you can never get back, and it's something that is yours. It's something that God meant for you, and so there is so much grieving and healing. But in that process, on the healing path, a mother realizes that they are mom. They always will be mom. That no matter how hard CPS tried to eliminate us from our children's lives, that at the end of the day and every day, we are our children's mother. There's absolutely nothing CPS can do to change that. They can change the birth certificates. They can shut us out of our kids' lives. They can create obstacles and chaos and lie. They can make rulings called termination of parental rights. They may tell us that we're not mom anymore and we never existed. And all of that still doesn't change the fact that they're right. We are mom no matter what. We are our children's mom. And I want to make the clarification that whichever path a parent chooses, they both are filled with love for our child. If we continue to fight, love for our child. If we choose to heal, love for our child. I have chosen the path to heal. And so what empowers me is knowing my circle of control and the things I can control. I cannot control when I'm going to see my child again. I have no idea. I have no control over that. But what I do have control over is whatever day that is, that our reunion happens, that the person that they lay eyes on, that the person that my children are standing there on whatever day it may be, the person that they look at and see, I have 100% control over that person and what they see. And so that motivates me to work on me and to do the healing work and to continue to grow and to be stable and to know what I value and to implement those values in my life every day. After what parents experience in the CPS dependency courtroom, our nervous systems are out of whack, our brains have been traumatized, and those things take time to heal. Now, I'm not saying that time heals this wound, because it doesn't. My experience, it actually makes it worse. In my experience, the grieving or in time, in reference to time, every memory and moment that I miss and never can get back, those just keep stacking up and adding up. So for me, time does not heal this wound, this grieving wound. But time and the healing work will heal your nervous system and will get you out of survival mode back to that safe space that you need to be and deserve to be. So if you're a parent who has had TPR, and once you get through either path you choose, I guess, once you get through the blaming others, the self-blame, the guilt, the shame, once you get through the asking why, and you get to a place of radical acceptance, that's a very pivotal point on your healing journey. Because once you get to the place of radical acceptance, you then have a building block. You then have something very solid and stable to grow from. And that is when you actually start growing. And things shift in your life because you have just put in so much healing work to not blame yourself and others, to find forgiveness. Getting to radical acceptance requires so much work. I mean, my heart goes out to every parent, and that's why I'm here, and that's why I show up, and that's why I make myself vulnerable and create this channel, and that's why I put in my time and effort to make these videos. Because for a mom to get to radical acceptance, which I hope every mom does, I know the work and the things that she had to go through to even get to radical acceptance. Because once you get to radical acceptance, you're just at the beginning, you're just at the bottom foundation, but that's a good thing, because once you radically accept your life, it is what it is, and then you move forward from that space and you continue to grow, people are going to notice and people are going to see it. And it's very glorious and it's very rewarding, and there's so much strength and beauty and wisdom in that. And then you will start to see your own growth, and other people will too. And that's when I believe blessings will abundantly fill your life. And that's when you get to the part where you're, setting goals and achieving goals and becoming the person that your kids need you to be. If you are still fighting, I admire your bravery and your strength, and I wish you all the success in that. I know a lot of moms are still fighting after termination of parental rights, and they're doing so not from a place of for themselves. They're doing so from a place for all of us, and those are God's people, and I acknowledge your bravery and strength. I send total appreciation and gratitude for your fight. And so I wasn't trying to minimize the path that some parents choose of continuing to fight. That is amazing. And that fight can be done from a place of love and not fear, and from a place of strategic, thought out, trains of thought versus panic and fear. And it doesn't have to be chaos. It can be clarity. And just a friendly reminder to take the time to nurture your heart, your mind, your body, your soul, and to acknowledge your grief. But both paths are beautiful. And I promise there's not one that's right and one that's wrong. I 100% admire a parent who has been faced with TPR and that horrific reality and still gets up and continues to fight. I love it. I love it. Thank you for being here today. I'll end this video by saying and acknowledging that both paths encompass so much love for our child. We are moms and we love our children. There is no question about that. We are what's best for our children. So it is a tragic, unjust, broken system. And I do hope for change. I do see change coming. I do know a lot of things in motion right now, because us parents, maybe we're not legally fighting and we are healing. There's a lot of parents who are still advocating and speaking out. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I recommend to everybody, no matter which path you're on, is to speak out, because speaking out, speaking your truth gives you your power back that they stole. And they made you feel like you were nothing. And then they kicked you when you were down. And sharing your story is so important, because your story matters. And I am 100% certain that your story, by sharing it, will heal you and will help at least one other person, if not 5,000 more people. So thank you for being here. If you see this video, press like. That prompts the YouTube algorithm to send this video out to more people. And I want to reach every mother who has been traumatized and is healing through ambiguous grief due to CPS. I know it's a bigger problem than we even realize, probably than I even realize, and I can't handle, I won't tolerate any mom, no matter where she is or how recent or how long ago her experience with CPS was. I cannot tolerate any mother without her children and suffering in silence and grieving and shame and blame from a place of fear and regret. Like, I won't allow it. So please press the like button and subscribe to this channel and be a part of this healing community. I hope your day is filled with all your favorite things.